So, for those of you who don't know, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. These are only just a few books, but Mataji has more books back there. And this is in English. And she has also invited Telugu Srimad Bhagavatam, which we don't have yet. We will get it in a few days. But today we will discuss about Srimad Bhagavatam, see what this is about, okay? And we will hear about this from the mouth of Narad Muni himself, okay? As whatever he said to Vyasadeva. So I'm hoping that everybody is familiar with Bhagavad Gita. Even if you have not read, at least you're familiar with some, premises of it. That Bhagavad Gita was spoken on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It was a dialogue between Krishna and Arjun. Arjun asked questions to Krishna, and Krishna replied. So, in this, Krishna gave many principles of how to conduct our life, how to live in this world, who we are. We are not this body, we are the soul, he told Arjuna. He told about the nature of this world, what keeps us here, what can free us from here, who he is or who Ishwar is, and how to connect with Ishwar. So many principles he gave, okay? So, this contains a lot of philosophy, okay? This contains a lot of philosophical points. But Srimad Bhagavatam actually contains a lot of stories, okay? And we actually have some for kids also. So those same stories that are in Srimad Bhagavatam are also in the form of Bhagavatam tales for children. So this is a lot of pictures and all. So Srimad Bhagavatam, basically, it is a story of exchanges between Krishna and his devotees. So all the principles that Krishna gave in Bhagavad Gita, he showed through his devotees' examples in Bhagavatam on how to carry out those principles in life. For example, if you know a little bit about Bhagavad Gita, in the very end, 18th chapter, Krishna finishes Bhagavad Gita by saying that Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashami ma shucha. O Arjun, do not fear ma shucha, no worries at all. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashami. I will liberate you, I'll free you from all kind of actions, reactions, sinful past or anything, okay? Just surrender unto me. Okay, सब कुछ छोड़ के सर्व धर्मान परित्याजा, give up everything, all kinds of lower principles, and just adopt me as the highest absolute truth and come to me. I am the ultimate truth. Come to me, the param satya, and surrender unto me. But he did not really show what that surrender means. Okay, he did not. Sometimes teacher gives an exam, gives a problem, but then like a maths teacher will give like a vignette or some kind of example. Like for example, if I say 8 minus 5 is 3, okay, it may not register very well with kids. But if I say you have 8 mangoes and now you gave 5 mangoes to Radha, how many do you have left? So this is an example, right? So when you exemplify a principle in your life, okay, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are stories in which various devotees, many devotees, whether it's Kunti Maharani or Gajendra or Prahlad or Parikshit or Madaruttara, Dhruv Maharaj, so many. There are 12 books here. So there are so many devotees who have shown through their life on how to surrender. And that's just one thing I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about so many other principles that they, like the principle of, let's say, humility or tolerance or forbearance or perseverance or patience. So many things, so many virtues, values, qualities that they exemplify. So when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, this is such an auspicious book. This is called the Book of Divine Love. Okay. So basically it's called Prema Pumartho Mahan, which means that in this life, the topmost goal is Prema, Krishna Prema. Okay. This book gives us Krishna Prema. This book is considered none other than Krishna himself, who has come in the book form. Okay. Let's keep it a little bit engaging. Anybody knows what 4 Purusharthas are? Maybe adults might know. What are the 4 Purusharthas that are mentioned very famously in our Upanishads, Puranas, Vedas? What are the 4, or you can say Purushartha means 4 purposes of human life, 4 goals of human life, 4 things for which we live for. What are those Purusharthas? And Dharma. Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. In English, you can say Dharma is religiosity or religious principles, right? Artha is economic development. So like we are making money, we are trying to contribute to the economic development of the country, the community, right? Of our own family, of ourselves. So that is Artha. Kama means sense gratification, okay? And moksha means liberation from all of this, okay? Maximum people are engaged in Artha and Kama. Some people are engaged in some type of religiosity, but that is also practiced to just make their dharma and make their Artha and Kama easier. So many people are engaged in religiosity or religious principle just to make their economic development and their sense gratification easier, right? To make their life smooth. And then when somebody is fed up with all this dharma, earth, kam, then they try for liberation. But beyond these four purusharthas, there is called a pancham purusharth. There is something that is beyond that. Okay, that pancham purusharth is the divine love or Krishna prem. So this book is beyond the four purushartha. It gives us the pancham purusharth, the divine love or love of Godhead. Okay, so this is also called. I'll tell you some of the before we get into Narad Muni's instructions. I'll tell you some of the qualities of this. This is also called spotless Puran or Amal Puran. Okay, how many Puranas are there? Okay, so what is four in number in our literature, Vedic literature? Four Vedas, right? Then how many Puranas are there? 18 Puranas. How many Upanishads are there? 108 Upanishads, right? So and I will not go into intricacy or technicalities of this, but the Puranas, 18 Puranas are divided into six and six. Okay. The lower six Puranas are for tamasic people, which means people that are in mode of ignorance, like tamas. Okay. The middle Puranas, which is next level, is for people that are in mode of passion, very active, ambitious people that are working for a lot of, profits in this world. They want everything for their benefit and their enjoyment and all this. That is mode of passion, Rajas. And then there are top six Puranas, like Vishnu Puran, like that. There are some Puranas that are in the mode of goodness or Sattvic Puranas. So Bhagavatam Puran is the topmost even among those in the mode of goodness. This is the topmost Puran. Okay, and it is called Amal Puran because unlike other Puranas, it's spotless. Spotless meaning it has nothing to do with dharma, arth, kam, moksha. It only and only talks about Krishna Prem. So that is why it's called spotless Puran. And because it is topmost, it is also called Granth-raj. I'm just giving you some names for Bhagavatam. It is Prema Pumartho Mahan. That's the goal of Bhagavatam, to give you the love of Godhead. That's the goal of Bhagavatam. It is called Amal Puran because there is no contamination of any fruitive benefits or any other lower dharmas, lower principles in it. Okay. And then it is also called topmost Puran. So it is Granth-raj. Okay. More importantly than all of this, it is non-different from Krishna. Okay, so having Srimad Bhagavatam in your house is basically like having Krishna or Krishna's deity, but in a book form. Do you know that Krishna can be in the form of, let's say a mountain? Can somebody give me example? Govardhan. Can Krishna be in the form of a stone? Shaligram Shila, wow. Can what else? Can Krishna be in the form of a plant? Tulsi Maharani, right? It's considered a devotee, but yeah. Can Krishna appear in the form of a person in front of us? Huh? In the form of a guru, right? Through guru, Krishna extends himself, right? Can Krishna come in the form of a place? A dham, right? Krishna can be in the form of a place or dham. So like that, there are Krishna can come in many forms. And when Krishna comes in book form, it's called Granth Avatar, okay, or book incarnation of Krishna. So when Krishna was leaving this world 5,000 years back, when Krishna came, he was leaving this world. I'm sorry, the slides may not be in a proper order, but when Krishna was leaving this world, um, suddenly there was darkness, there was inauspiciousness. You can assume, right? Krishna, the auspicious divine presence, is leaving. So it felt like all the gyan, all the knowledge, all the renounced, all the vairagya, everything is leaving with him. At that time, when there was this darkness and Kali Yuga was coming, Dwapar Yuga was ending and Kali Yuga was coming, at that time, Srimad Bhagavatam arose. It is described, Bhagavatam itself describes, I'll show you the verse, Bhagavatam itself describes that Bhagavatam arose in the form of sun to give light to the people of Kali Yuga. So for Kali Yuga people, Bhagavatam is the form of Krishna when he disappeared. So once he disappeared, Bhagavatam arose to fill that gap, fill that space. So this is not any other than the deity of Krishna. That's why we are going to offer Aarti to Srimad Bhagavatam later on. It doesn't mean you have to offer Aarti. Each form of Krishna is worshipped in a different way. What is the worship of Srimad Bhagavatam? Reading it. Who said that? Wow, Hari Bol. Can you quote where it says that we should read it daily? Who can quote? And that reminds me, we have to do some prayers. So let's say those prayers also. Whoever knows the Mangalacharan prayer, let's say those prayers before we go forward. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापद्कमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सागणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. So he answered that we have to worship this deity of Krishna by reading it, right? Srimad Bhagavatam's decoration is not just with agarbatti or lamp. That's not enough. You have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's called Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Nasht Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. All the abhadra in your life, all the inauspiciousness in your life will go away by reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. Uttam Shloka is one of the names of Krishna. Uttam Shloka means somebody, a personality who's described in the best of the verses. Choices, the topmost of the verses are described in Krishna's glory. And even if a verse is not the topmost, let's say there are some errors in it, let's say there are some grammatical errors or some mistakes in it. But if it is describing Krishna, it becomes the best verse. So Uttam Shloka has those two types of meaning. So Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Immediately Bhakti will arise in the heart of a devotee. Okay. So this gives you the love of Godhead. This gives you the bhakti, the devotional service or the love of the God. So this is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. This has mostly principles, philosophy, whereas that has a lot of activities of Krishna, a lot of exchanges, relationships of Krishna with his devotees, and they're very, very wonderful to read. So please read. Your life will change. And whoever is reading Srimad Bhagavatam, they can attest to that. I know that we can attest to that. Even having Srimad Bhagavatam in your house is just so auspicious, just so purifying. It It removes all the contaminations from the heart. It removes all the contaminations from your, your mind, your intelligence, your existence, and then from your life also. Life becomes very auspicious. And then slowly bhakti starts coming, and as you start reading, Krishna just starts revealing himself more and more to you. So please delve into this book. It has prayers of many wonderful devotees in it. There are Mahabhagavad devotees, like Bhishma's prayers are there, Gajendra's prayers are there, Dhruv Maharaj's prayers are there. So many. It's Queen Kunti's prayers are there, and those prayers, Prahlad Maharaj's prayers are there. So prayers of devotees are there. Their stories are there. Their activities are there. You learn so many life lessons from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is, we've been doing these Bhagavatam kathas for a long time now, and in the past we have taken the topic of how through Srimad Bhagavatam you can overcome fear. We have discussed before various life lessons through Srimad Bhagavatam. How Srimad Bhagavatam breaks social norms. Okay, we think we are very modern. We think that we are very, let's say, feminist. This is the era of feminism, right? That females should have equal rights and all. But actually, Bhagavatam shows that even in that time, Krishna breaks those social norms, and he gives superior rights to, like, let's say, Brahmanas' wives or gopis or Nagpatnis, right? All these, he doesn't care about social hierarchy. He doesn't care if you're king or a pauper, a male or a female, demigod or a demon. He doesn't care if you are a Brahman or a grahastha or a sannyasi. He doesn't care about those social hierarchy that we so care about, right? These bodily designations that we are so attached to. He only cares about love. Whoever has love, he cares about that. Can anybody give an example where he preferred a demon over a devotee, where a demon was? Yes, Vritasur. Vritasur is called is called that he was the one of the very wonderful devotees, but he was in a demon body, right? Prahlad himself is it in the demon body. Let's say, and we took the example of females, right, being prioritized over the males. What about a king being given priority or preference because he has love for Krishna over a sannyasi? What example? Amrish Maharaj, right? Amrish Maharaj, Durvasa Muni, Sudarshan Chakra was running after Durvasa Muni through different planets, and Durvasa Muni, who's a sannyasi, whereas Amrish Maharaj is a king, is a gruhastha, and Durvasa had to come and fall at the feet of Amrish, right? So, like that, Srimad Bhagavatam breaks these social norms, these stereotypes that we have understood in this world. And then how to deal with the various hardships. We took this topic once, how to deal with various hardships, whether you have a terminal illness or loss of a job or loss of a loved one. Can anybody give example of terminal illness where somebody was about to die in a few days? Parikshit Maharaj. How about the loss of a loved one? Somebody lost their child in Srimad Bhagavatam, and how Bhagavatam taught to deal with that loss. Huh? Chitraketu Maharaj, right? So many examples are there, right? There are examples of mercy of Lord. There are example of killing of demons. So many demons, right? Dusht Daman Leelas are there. There are examples of where mistakes are committed by devotees. Can somebody think of those examples? Because it's not like it's all black and white. It's not all black and white. Even devotees make mistakes. So what happened? Can somebody give examples of how Krishna taught them a lesson or showed them how to grow through that mistake? Or Indra's, yes, King Indra, when he during Govardhan Leela, right? Who else? Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma offended Krishna directly by stealing all his cowherd friends and the calves. And who else? Who else was a devotee that had a not a mistake direct, not an offense, but a mistake, let's say. Did Bharat Maharaj not make a mistake? He got attached to the deer. Jai Vijay. Jai Vijay offended the four Kumaras. So there are so many examples. Even Chitraketu Maharaj being attached to lamenting after his lost son so much that he forgot to rule his kingdom responsibly. So like that. And then there are examples of how non-devotees become devotee. So many, I mean, there are the Bhagavatam is so nourishing, so nectarian. It's a very special literature, and you will see from Narad Muni's descriptions also. So, okay. This is that verse I was telling you about. that Bhagavad Puran is as brilliant as the sun. It has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religion, knowledge, etc. So when Krishna left, religion, dharma, and vairagya and gyan, everybody left. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance shall get light from this Puran in the age of Kali. There are many other things about Bhagavatam, why Bhagavatam is a very superior, why it's considered topmost. One of the reasons it's considered topmost is that it is written by Vyasadev. So this is Vyasadev. And who is the teacher of Vyasadev? And what is the speciality of Vyasadev? Can somebody mention, maybe different people can mention different points? Why do we know Vyasadev? Yes. Who is he? Okay, yeah, he wrote all Vedas. He wrote all Vedas, all Upanishads, all Puranas, and he wrote the Itihasas. Which Itihas? He wrote the Mahabharata, and as part of that Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. Yes, so what else? He is disciple of Narad Muni, right? He is the empowered incarnation of none other than Krishna. So he's the Shakti-Avesh avatar of Krishna. So what happened was Ved Vyas composed all this literature, all these things you mentioned. You mentioned 4 Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas. He compiled all of this. Yeah, Prabhu, please sit. So when Vyasadev compiled all of this literature, okay, he was still not satisfied. He was still not happy. Okay. He was very discontent. Can you imagine some author, some writer, he writes so many books that people have taken up. People are reading Vedas, great sages have attached themselves to learning Upanishads and Puranas and whatnot. Mahabharata is such a valuable literature. But Ved Vyas was not happy. He was actually became very depressed. He became very discontent. He was morose and he did not know what is the reason for my discontent. Why am I not satisfied? I have composed so much literature. We cannot compare him with anyone who can write so much spiritual literature. And yet he was not happy. So then his Guru Maharaj, Narad Muni, came. Okay. Because whenever we are in difficulty, we don't like for example Arjuna. When Arjuna was confused on the battlefield on what to do, what is causing my bewilderment, why don't I know what to do, then Krishna helped him. So similarly in this case, when Vyasadeva was very confused what's going on, then Narad Muni came. Okay, so he gave instructions to Vyasadeva, and those are the instructions we will read today. Okay, ultimately I still want to go into the fact why this is so special. Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam as his last literature that he compiled. Okay, this is at the peak of his literary career. This is at the zenith, when he's at the topmost, at the maturity of his career. You agree that when we keep doing something, we will mature, right? And we will be able to do it better and better. So by now, he has become so proficient that when the time came to glorify the Lord at the most maturity of his career, he compiled this Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is also special because it was compiled by the same person who has given us all the rest of the literature, but he compiled this in a very condensed form, just giving the love of Godhead, realizing that nothing else is useful. All that I wrote was waste. This is what mattered, and I did not write this. Okay, and so then at that time, at the very maturity of his career, he wrote this. So that's one reason why it's special. Another reason Bhagavatam is special is, and this is the speciality actually of all our Vedic literature. If anybody asks you why Vedas, why our literature from our Sanatan Dharma is so special, especially you can see in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are conversations between people. Okay, people in those times were not talking about Trump or Russia-Ukraine war or stock market or some school gun shooting and some terrorist attack or some accident or some murder. They were not talking about these things. People in those days were very highly self-realized, and they knew they had no time to waste in their life. So they were only talking about they only talked Hari Katha. Even if they knew a concept, they wanted to hear it from their superior person. Let's see what he has to say about this principle, this philosophy. So they were always getting enlightened. Okay. So in this book, there are conversations and then there are conversations within conversation. Because when two people talk, let's say I'm talking to Poonam Mataji. Okay. She asked me a question. When I answer, I'm not just going to answer it. I'm going to give the reference of my superior. You know, my superior, so and so Maharaj or so and so Guru told me this. Okay. So I'm going to give a citation. I'm going to cite somebody else who's more superior to me. I will also give reference from scripture, citing some stories and examples. So there are conversations within conversations. Sometimes there are so many layers of conversations, like Vidura and Vidura is asking questions to Mitra. Mitra will say that this particular conversation happened between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni. Narad Muni will say this particular conversation happened between Yamraj and Yamdutas. Yamraj will say, let me tell you, he's talking to Yamdutas, let me tell you some example. Like that, there is everybody is giving reference of a superior person, a more senior person, and they're giving analogies, examples, and there are a lot of conversations going on, and so it's a dialogue between people at all times. It becomes easy to understand, and people are not scared of asking questions. They're asking their doubts, even if they know something. These are very learned people. They know everything. Even then, they're asking just to hear from some superior person. How would they put this? How would they put this concept together? Maybe I'll still learn something, right? So this is the literature's methodology is what makes this particular literature very, very superior. And then, of course, the prose, the poetry, the way the verses are compiled by Vyasadeva is very beautiful. It's very, very nectarian to hear how the words are bound together. If you sing these verses, if you start reading this daily, you will, if there will be there will come a time when you don't read it and you will miss it, as if today you didn't eat your food, as if today you didn't wash your face. You miss it, right? You didn't brush your teeth and it feels yucky in the mouth. It will feel bad if I don't read Bhagavatam that day, right? So there will come a time when you will start missing it, because it's nourishing. It's nourishing your soul. We are always just worried about nourishing our body. Nobody cares about nourishing their intellect and mind, and their, most importantly, the real self, the soul that we are. And when the soul gets nourished, it's a very deep, very profound satisfaction that other things cannot give us. Other superficial things, just by eating, just by watching a movie, just by listening a song, those things are very temporary. They finish very quickly, and they don't go very deep. The length and depth of their satisfaction from them is very shallow. Okay. It doesn't last long and it doesn't go deep enough, but this lasts long and goes deep enough. That's why you want to keep chasing this is a high that you want to keep chasing. So if somebody really wants to be intoxicated with the real toxicant, then this is the intoxicant they should be chasing after, the real high that people should be chasing after. Also, this is written in Samadhi Bhasya. Samadhi Bhasya means that Vyasadeva went into this trance in this meditation, and all the revelations were given to him by Krishna in the trance. So this is considered king of all knowledge, the Raj Vidya. It is the most advanced theology in the world. There are so many details given, in other, like sometimes in other religions. Not to put anybody down, but in Abrahamic religions, sometimes, they said, "Oh, yeah, what is it that makes Sanatan Dharma or the Vedic literature or this philosophy, this theology so superior?" Well, what makes it so superior is that we have details of God. We don't just say God, we know God's name. We know what he looks like. We know what he likes and dislikes. We know his desires. We know the innermost core of his heart. We know where he lives. We know his home. We know who his associates are. We know what his activities and pastimes are. So we have such intimate, intricate details of the Lord. That is what makes it such an advanced theology. And all those details are given there. So that's why um, one should take to Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm going to read you some things. So what happened? So Vyasadeva, going back to our discussion, Vyasadeva was sitting very discontent. I'm not sure what's going on with me. I wrote so much. Now what is there left to write? So Narad Muni came and he started instructing Vyasadeva, and he said, this is what is going on. So first of all, Sri Vyasa said to Narad Muni, I'm not pacified. I question you. I'm just reading very quick. We have to do the full chapter. I'm just reading like few lines here and there. So he said, Narad Muni, I'm not pacified. I therefore question you about the root cause of my dissatisfaction. Okay, what is the root cause? So he said, everything that is mysterious in this world, oh my lord, he's speaking to Narad Muni, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator. So, like you're like the sun, you're like the air. Please, therefore, find out the deficiency in me. What is lacking in me? Why am I dissatisfied? Okay. He said, Manne tad darshanam khilam. So now Narad Muni now said, very beautiful. He said, you have not actually broadcasted the sublime and spotless glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. So he said, all that you have written so far, you have not glorified you have not mentioned the glories of the Supreme Lord. And anything that does not glorify Supreme Lord is worthless. So basically, all Vyasadev's lifelong work, he's calling it worthless. He said, all this Vedas, Upanishads, all this that you have written, manne tad darshanam khilam. Khilam matlab useless, worthless, waste. Manne tad, I believe that that type of darshan or that type of philosophy is wasteful. So he said, although great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles, the four purusharthas we talked about, right? You have broadly described the four principles, beginning with religious principles, beginning with dharma. Remember dharma, arth, kam, moksha. But you have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudev. So he said, Na tatha Vasudevasya mahima hi anuvarnita. You have not glorified the Supreme Lord Vyasadev. So Narad Muni is getting not upset, but he is just telling him what is the problem. Okay. So he said, now this is a very important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. He said, those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord are considered by saintly persons a place of pilgrimage for crows. Okay, very, very strong word he says. So I'm going to skip this. I had a lot of other things here which I'll skip. So he said, those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord are considered by saintly people to be a place of pilgrimage for crows. Now, are crows very high species, very advanced species? We consider them very low type, right? Very dirty species. Their sound is very shrill. They eat all kind of dirty stuff. They live in a very disgusting way. So not a bird that you like to hear, that you like to see. So he said pilgrimage of crows basically means, imagine like this is a pilgrimage of devotees, right? This is a tirtha. Any house which hosts devotees, Vaishnavas like this has become a tirtha, becomes a temple. But where crows assemble, so Narad Muni says, if you do not describe the glories of Supreme Lord, then that place is considered a pilgrimage of crows. Why some tirtham? By some Sanskrit mein bolte hain crows ko. So why some tirtham? So that this is any collection of people which do not describe glories of Supreme Lord are called pilgrimage of crows. कौवे की सभा, exactly, कौवे की conference, like कौवे की meeting हो रही है. So then he said, the all perfect persons, the hamsas, okay, do not derive any pleasure there. So now hamsa is a very beautiful bird. It's very pure looking, very white, lives in clean water, right? So hamsas and actually very, very advanced spiritualists are called paramhamsas. Because they're very self-realized souls are called paramhamsas. So hamsas or paramhamsas, saintly people, do not take delight in such some tirtham, such pilgrimage of crows where crows assemble and do ka 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 ka. So he said all your other literature is like a pilgrimage for crows because it has not described the Supreme Lord Vasudev's glories. So he said, yes, you have described the four purusharthas starting from religion, all this dharma, arth, kam, moksha, but you've not described the prema, pumartho, mahan, the topmost thing. Then he says, I don't know why I put this there, but I was looking for crows versus swan. And in this world, there is some kind of team. I don't know if they're football team or some kind of team which is actually calling themselves crows and swans. So there was, so I came across some kind of team. I don't know who they are. But looks like Sydney people have decided to call themselves swans and Adelaide's are crows. Like they don't know the meaning of crows and swans for us. So we have to become swan, not crow. So then Narad Muni starts his instructions. Sorry, just go back. So Narad Muni further talks about how this literature is so special. He said that the literature that describes the glories of the Supreme Lord, his name, fame, forms, pastimes, and qualities is a different creation altogether. It has the potential to bring, please listen to this line, this literature can bring about revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. It can bring revolution in one's life. This is a very strong statement from Narad Muni that such literature that describes Lord Vasudev's name, form, qualities, pastimes can bring revolution in one's life. So he said that any man can get completely purified even if this literature is imperfectly composed. So he said, don't worry about the best grammar, even though Bhagavatam has best grammar, best prose, best poetry, best lyrical. It's wonderful, best Sanskrit. So then he said, then he started instructing Vyasadeva about why the love of God is so important. Why we need to give love of God to the Supreme Lord, to the ordinary people of this world. So he said, um, he said that in this world people just want to fulfill their desires and they just want to enjoy. Okay, I, I want to see if we can open these verses. Not sure if they will. Something is missing, but he said that people just want to enjoy in this world. Okay, so what you have done, he said, what you have done is through all this other literature, you have given people means of enjoyment through religion. Okay. Now people are using religious rites. They do so many ceremonies, so many sacrifices or Devi Devta worship, but just to make their life comfortable. So you have increased their enjoyer propensity. You have made them run after enjoyment and fulfilling their desires, but through a religious route. So actually, Narad Muni said this is condemnable. This is not right what you have done. You have given them way to fulfill their desires and enjoy in this world, and you have given them practices for that. Like you have given them so many ceremonies, yagyas, homams, and all that people perform, so many fastings, rituals to get a better body, get promotion, get a child or get a husband, things like that, just to make their life comfortable. And that's not the highest. He said you have not given them the highest, you have given them all these principles to fulfill their lower desires. So he says whatever you desire in this world which is separate from the Lord only causes agitation to the mind. Okay, only causes agitation to the mind. Does that make any sense to anyone? In this world, if you desire something separate from Krishna, if your desires are separate from Krishna, if you want to enjoy something separate from Krishna, it will cause only agitation of mind. Okay, दिमाग खराब हो जाएगा. it'll cause, क्योंकि whatever we do, for example, if we are eating food but it's not prasad, it's not bhoga, then that food will give us some kind of reaction. That food will cause entanglement, it will give us karma, it will keep us bound in this world, right? But if we eat prasadam, it is auspicious, it is divine, it is sanctified food, it will free us from all the karmic reactions. So anything we do in this world which is, for example, if I'm just, let's say, if I'm just taking care of my husband as a separate from Krishna, I do not see him as a part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is not part of our life. Then I will have expectations from him, right? He should serve me. I should be the center of his life. He should listen to me. There will be so many arguments, so many problems, right? So much dissatisfaction will be there. But as soon as I connect him with Krishna, then there will be like, okay, Krishna has given me this soul for me to take care of him and for him to take care of me. It's a mutual thing. I will tolerate some of his problems, he will tolerate some of mine. I will serve him, he will serve me, right? So as soon as Krishna comes in the middle of anything, any relationship, any situation, any activity, any thing, okay, anything which is connected with Krishna will not bind us, it will free us, it will give us deeper satisfaction, longer lasting satisfaction. And as soon as we take something separate from Krishna, independent from Krishna, then our bhoga tendency comes. So connecting anything with Krishna is called yoga, and enjoying something just for yourself, just for me-centered life is called bhoga. So as soon as Krishna comes in the center of anything, everything becomes yoga. Okay, so your home, when devotees come, when you read Bhagavatam here, when you do Arti here, when you read Bhagavad Gita here, when you have Hari Katha here, this becomes temple. So anything that is used, this home has become a source of yoga because this is connecting us to divine. But if you're just using it for your own enjoyment and my parties and my sense gratification and just that, then the same home has become now a source of keeping you in the cycle of birth and death. So any desires, any enjoyment in this world that is separate from Krishna will entangle you, will keep you stuck in the cycle of birth and death, and you will keep going through miseries, right? It will not satisfy you deeply. So anything when we connect with Krishna becomes spiritual. So this is one thing. He said it will agitate the mind. And what you have done, Vyasadeva, you have given people sources of enjoyment through Ved. Now people are enjoying through the Vedas, through the Upanishads, and they are getting agitated. Okay. So you have given things separate from Krishna, basically. Then he said, what is the in Bhagavatam, Narad Muni said to Vyasadeva, if somebody lives a perfect material life, okay, let's say I have no Krishna in my life, I have the best job, I have a lot of money, I have the biggest house and 3 cars or whatever, right? Whatever is considered best. If I live a perfect material life and then when I die, would I have to come back or no? I would have to come back. Would I have to start again? Whatever I earned in previous life, can that go with me? No. Whatever education I earned, can I continue from there? Will those degrees go with me to the next life? No. Degrees will have to be earned again. Property will have to be earned again. Spouse you will find again. Children you will have again. You may get a different body, which you will have to suffer again. Um, Everything you will have to go through again, right? So you cannot carry anything forward. So even if somebody lives a perfect material life, at the end, there is nothing to their credit. They did not earn anything. Everything is lost, everything is gone at the end of this life. They have zero in their account, right? Zero in their spiritual account, because we are spirit soul, we have to keep going forward. So if you this is what, if this is all we are doing in our life, just enjoying and desiring separate from Krishna, then at the end of the life it's all zero, right? As soon as you add Krishna in front, Krishna is number one. If you add one in front of that zero, then that zero gets a meaning. Then it becomes 10 or 100 or 1,000 or something. So he said, even if somebody lives a perfect material life, there is no credit to him. But even if somebody lives an imperfect spiritual life, let's say I'm living a spiritual life, I'm trying very hard to chant Krishna's names, but my mind is not focusing, my mind keeps deviating. I'm trying to read, but it's not getting through to me. I cannot understand it. I give up after 5 pages or 2 pages. But those 2 pages will go with me. Those 2 pages, those names that I chanted, even though with imperfect attention, improper attention, they will now go with me. That is my credit. That is my number one that I earned, right? So even if you did spiritual practices, but imperfectly, you're sitting here. Even if, let's say, you're not able to focus, you're sleeping, your mind is, your attention is deviating. Still, you're sleeping here, not at home, right? You're sleeping here, right? Sleeping here is better than sleeping at home. So because you tried, and Krishna sees that effort, that this soul, this jiva who had so many resources to enjoy in this world, they could have gone to watch a game or to somebody's party or to dance at a disco or something. They could have gone to any of those number of places, but they came here, even though they don't have any attachment to me, they don't know what Bhagavatam is, that they're still trying to understand something about me. And that imperfect spiritual life will go with you. That is your eternal credit. But what is there to gain for somebody who lived a very perfect materialistic life? They will have nothing at the end. So this is actually a Bible verse which says, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and lose his own soul? So remember that the spiritual, the things that we do for spirit soul will go with us. Okay. then, so we are just learning some lessons from Narad Muni that he gave to Vyasadeva, because he's teaching Vyasadeva. He's saying, Vyasadeva, all this that you gave is just to make somebody's material life more perfect, just to increase their desires and enjoyment in this world. But you did not give them the highest thing. Give them Krishna, he's going to say. Okay. So then he said, what are people doing through all your dharma, arth, kam, moksha? They're trying to get happiness in this world. This is all everybody's doing. They're trying to get happiness and they're trying to escape the miseries. Whole life, हर किसी की struggle यही है कि खुशी कैसे मिले और misery कैसे ना मिले, right? Sorry. By the way, who else said this in Bhagavatam? Those who have read some Srimad Bhagavatam, a great personality said this. And you have all, most of you have seen this movie of this great personality. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj also told Hiranyakashipu that happiness and miseries come automatically, my father. Don't run after them so much. So we don't need to run. Do we ever invite miseries in our life? Like somebody says, and somebody is sitting, maybe I'll get some disease today. Maybe I'll get sick today. Are you inviting those? Sickness just happens, right? Accident just happens. Nobody's inviting accident. Nobody's inviting loss of health, loss of wealth, loss of loved one, loss of job, loss of name, fame, status. We're not inviting those things. They just come of their own accord, right? They come because it was written in our course of our life. It was written as part of our karmic reaction. So it comes. So the great sages, the great souls know this. Prahlad Maharaj knew this. And Narad Muni is also saying to Vyasadeva, similar, just like miseries come automatically of their own accord, you don't chase after them. Similarly, happiness also comes of its own accord. You don't have to chase after it. You don't have to go crazy about it. What people are doing is people are running after happiness so much that ultimately when they have to work really hard to get just a little bit of happiness in this world, right? बहुत सारा करना पड़ता है बहुत थोड़े के लिए, है ना? और थोड़ा सा मिलता है, and that is not satisfying enough, that is not permanent enough or satiating enough, right? So happiness, so Narad Muni said, happiness and miseries come of their own accord. So he said, as far as happiness is concerned, from sense enjoyment, it can be obtained automatically in the course of time, just as in the course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. Okay. I knew that was about to happen. As it is, my voice is going away. I can do that, you know. I can do that. Okay. Okay. So he said, so this is just some couple of things that happiness derived from a combination of senses. So especially the very superficial type of happiness that we're all chasing from our indriyas, from our senses and contact with sense objects, like to eat something nice, to hear something, some Bollywood song, or to, you know, right, or to watch some movie or something. This type of sense gratification just causes entanglement. It is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. Okay. So then some great other souls have said that happiness is a state of inner fulfillment, not just gratifying your inexhaustible desires. Is this voice okay, or should I go back to that one? This is okay? Yeah? Go back to that one. Can I have that one back? It's an echo, yeah. चलो भी story करते हैं. I know that the kids had enough of the instructions of Narad Muni. Let's hear the story. So Narad Muni said, enough of this. Okay, I've told you, given you enough of these principles. Now let me tell you my own story. Okay, often, and Vyasadeva actually asked him, you know, tell me your story. So Narad Muni, I can just take that. So Narad Muni will tell his own story. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I don't know if this is good. Can I have that one? That one was better, right? Yeah. So who knows the story of Narad Muni? Okay, this Narad Muni will tell the story of his previous birth. Okay. We can arrange it over here. No, I can take this. She liked it. it becomes hands-free, that's why. But I can't move my head too much, and when I do, it falls. I can already sense when it's about to fall. So this is the story of the previous birth of Narad Muni. Narad Muni अपने पिछले जन्म की कहानी सुनाएंगे. Can I switch back and forth between Hindi, or is it not an option? No, it is okay. Okay, okay. Mostly we'll stick to English. So Narad Muni said, let me tell you the story of my previous birth. I was not always like this. He said, I was not always like a Dev Rishi, great sage. He's considered a space traveler, right? He can travel between different planets, and he can approach any of the demigods, heavenly planets, hellish planets, material world, spiritual world. He can go anywhere. So he said, I was not always like this. In my last birth, and he said this happened in the last day of Brahmaji. Some of you may know Brahmaji has a very long lifespan. He has 432 billion years of one day is equal to 432 billion years. And 432 billion years is equal to one night of Brahmaji. So he said, in the last day of Brahmaji, I lived as a different person. I was a child. He said, when I was a very small child, Narad Muni is saying his story. Four Vedantas, four Bhakti Vedantas. Vedantas means people who know the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras, the conclusion of Vedas. They came to stay at our house. Okay. He said, my mother was a maid servant. We lived in a very small cottage, but these four Vedantas were traveling and they stopped at our cottage. And I got a chance to serve them. Okay. So he said that once, by their permission, I took the remnants of their food. And by doing so, all my sins were at once eradicated. I became purified in heart. Okay. They blessed me with their causeless mercy. And they basically taught him, they would discuss Hari Katha, and he would sit there and listen from them. Okay. So he learned a lot about the philosophy, the activities of the Lord, the pastimes, the name, form, qualities of the Lord from these Bhakti Vedantas. Thus, listening attentively, my taste for hearing about the personality of Godhead increased at every step. Okay, like right now we don't have much taste, much ruchi, much interest. So, but slowly, as we keep hearing, he said, I was hearing with rapt attention, and slowly, by listening very attentively to these Bhakti Vedantas, my interest developed in hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as I got a taste for the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear about the Lord became unflinching. Now he was fixed in his attention to hear about the Lord. Okay, now he was not getting deviated or distracted at all. So then he talks more about this with his experience with Bhakti Vedantas. He was not only hearing from them, he was serving them. Once he, by their permission, took their food also. It is said that when you eat food, leftover food from great sages, it's very purifying. It eradicates a lot of your karmas and unwanted qualities and reactions. So it is said, Bhakt Pad Dhuli Ara Bhakt Pad Jal Bhakt Bhukt Avashesh Teen Mahabhal. Bhakt ke pad ka jal, Bhakt ka bacha hua khana, Bhakt Bhukt Avashesh, and Bhakt Pad Jal, Bhakt Pad Dhuli. And the dust of their lotus feet we put on our head is very, very liberating. It's very purifying. So he said, but he got all of those basically. So he said he learned a lot about the Supreme Lord. Then what happened was, sorry. Okay. So then one day they left. The four Bhaktivedantas left. But he said, I had become very pure by then. I could feel that all my reactions were gone. I had become very fixed in my service to the Supreme Lord, and I started serving. I started chanting his names. Okay. But one day it happened that his mother passed away. His mother was going to milk the cows in the morning, and she got bit by a snake and she died. And Narad Muni was still a child. He was a very small child, as you can see. And he had no shelter. He had no guardian. He had nobody to take care of him. So he started traveling. Okay. He remembered the instructions of Bhakti Vedantas. He knew that he has to spend his life in devotional service, and he started traveling. He traveled a lot. He traveled through the whole country, many, many hills and towns and regions and cities. It's described how he traveled far and wide. Okay. And then he came to a very secluded, uninhabited forest, and he sat down there, and he sat down in trance on the Supreme Lord. Okay. Let me read that. In between also it happens that Vyasadeva asks Narad Muni, because remember this is a conversation going on. So Vyasadeva asks, Narad Muni, how is it possible that you remember your last life? How is it possible? Like we don't remember our last life. And how is it possible that you remember it happened in the last day of Brahmaji? Like who can remember last day of Brahmaji? How did you attain this body? So they're in between, Vyasadeva will interrupt him with some questions. So he's saying, please tell me what happened after the Bhakti Vedantas left, and in the last day of Brahma. How come this is still fresh in your memory and has been undisturbed by time? Okay. So he said. Then I told you that he said, after Bhakti Vedantas left, my mother died and I traveled. Okay. My poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent and she passed away. So then he said, he reached this forest. Under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the Lord, the way I had learned from the liberated souls or the Bhakti Vedantas, the way they had taught him. My mind I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord with my mind. Tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart. So he said, tears were rolling down my eyes, and Krishna appeared on the lotus of my heart. O Vyasadeva, at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, every part of my body became separately enlivened. Imagine reading this in Bhagavatam. This is amazing, right? This is so wonderful. I get goosebumps when I read these things, these narrations of these wonderful personalities. So he said, every part of my, because we can't get direct darshan, but we can get darshan of Lord from through the eyes of Narad Muni here. So he said, every part of my body became separately enlivened, being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy. I could not see because tears were filling his eyes. I could not see myself or the Lord. The transcendental form of the Lord satisfied my mind's desires completely and at once erased all mental incongruities. Incongruities means any discrepancies, any doubts, any complications we have, any knots we have in our life, in our mind, right? Everything became very straightforward and simple. Everything became clear. But then the Lord disappeared. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when one loses that which is desirable. So now Narad Muni was completely bewildered. What happened? Where did this darshan go? Lord gave me darshan and the darshan disappeared. I desired to see again that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon him with my full heart, with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. And thus dissatisfied, I was very aggrieved. Okay. So he tried really hard. And when Lord saw that he was trying so hard, Lord spoke to him. He spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words to mitigate my grief. So to pacify my heart, to pacify my grief, Lord spoke to me very gently, very pleasingly. What did he say? The Lord spoke, I regret, Narad, that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in their service and not completely free from the material taints cannot see me, can hardly see me. So he said, basically, I have given you my darshan to increase your desire for me, to increase your hankering for me. So sometimes it happens in the lives of devotees also, when we are practicing, when we are chanting, or when we are reading, when we are serving, when we are doing various devotional activities, spiritual activities, you will get some revelations from the Lord. You will get some realizations from the Lord, and you will know that those are not material realizations, revelations. You will know that they are coming from absolute truth. They're coming from a divine source, that they are not material or mentally concocted. And those revelations Krishna gives just to increase your desire, just to increase your intensity, your seriousness, your sincerity of spiritual activity. So you will improve your sadhana. So you will try to get that again, that same feeling again that I had. I want to get that feeling again. And now you will read more and you will hear more. I want that feeling. I want to hold on to that feeling. So the spiritual realization, the revelations are so deep and they so completely fill the heart that none of the material things can. Okay, and that's how people lose taste for all the various enjoyments or various, the superficial things of this world. It's like कि हमको नीम के पेड़ के कीड़े को, imagine you give some mango juice or mango shake or mango lassi, right? He will be, oh my God, what is this? he will never taste neem again. Because then he realized, my God, that was so bitter. What was that I was eating all my life? This is so nectarian. This is so satisfying. I will not taste anything else but this. I want this again. So once you taste that love of God or these revelations, these realizations of God, you want to hold on to it. You want it again. So that's how Krishna increases our desire for him. So Krishna said himself, this is just to increase your desire for me, right? How in Braj Leelas, Krishna, or in any Leela, Krishna always separates himself from his devotees. In Ramayan, he separated himself from Mother Sita, or in Braj Leelas, he separates himself from gopis and the Brajvasis, just to increase their separation, increase their desire for him, right? Because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. So this is what we were talking about, that the more you hanker for the Lord, automatically purification will happen, right? So and then he says this verse. I was telling Nagarchan Prabhu this verse because when I read this verse, it blew my mind. He said, this is extraordinary. He said, by service of the absolute truth, even for a few days, and I highlighted this line, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present deplorable material worlds. Lord is saying, Krishna is saying to Narad Muni, even if you service for me for a few days, थोड़े दिन की सेवा भी करोगे अगर, with firm and fixed intelligence, you will go on to become my associate in the transcendental world. Is that what Narad Muni became or not? Right? You will become my associate in the transcendental world. Giving up this present deplorable, this disgusting material world, giving up this world, you will become my associate in the transcendental world. So this is one benediction he gave, that even for a few days, if you just firmly fix your mind in service. So very much hopeful for us, right? If we just practice for a few days with firm and fixed intelligence, maybe we can also become associate of the Lord, right? So this is the benediction, first boon or benediction he gave to Narad Muni. Second thing he said, your intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time. Like such intelligence which has become so purified, so uplifted by engaging in my service cannot be thwarted at any time, means time has no influence on it. Time destroys everything, right? Krishna says, Kalo Asmi, Mrityu Sarvas Haras Chaham. I will come as time and take away everything. But he said, time will not have any influence on anything spiritual, especially the intelligence that is fixed in my service. Even at the time of creation or annihilation, your remembrance will continue by my mercy. You will always remember me. So you will always remember this. That's how Narad Muni remembers. So Narad Muni is answering Vyasadev's question. How do you remember what happened in your last birth and in the last day of Brahmaji? Who can remember that? How is this possible? So he's saying this is by Lord's mercy. He told me directly that I will remember everything even at the time of creation or annihilation. So then Narad Muni said, in this way, his darshan disappeared, but this is a very famous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is actually um, considered like one of the top 10 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Narad Muni said, we can recite this actually. Please respond and follow. एतधियातुरचित्तानां मात्रा स्पर्शे छया मुहु मात्रा स्पर्शे छया मुहु भव सिंधु प्लवो दृष्टो हरिचर्यानुवर्णनम हरिचर्यावर्णनम. He said, it is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties due to desiring the contact of senses with their objects can cross this ocean of a most suitable boat by the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the Lord. So basically saying, so Narad Muni said, I'm going to go one verse back, okay? 33. This is 34. Narad Muni said, Lord's vision disappeared from me, but I was completely satisfied. He said, I began chanting the holy names of the Lord by repeated recitation. So continuously he's chanting the names, fames, activities, glories of the Lord. And he started traveling everywhere, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. All the formalities means, I do not care what the world's expectations is of me. I do not care the lies that world has told me, right? That I need to have a very comfortable life here, that I need to have so many accolades or achievements in my life to be considered worthy of a human life. No, I forgot all of those lies that the world teaches us. Okay. So he said, such chanting and remembering of the pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, completely satisfied, very humble and unenvious. So he became completely free of pride. This is also very famous actually, that when Lord's darshan happens, when true realizations happen, these are the two things that go away from us. Two things that are really the source of all our problems in this world: pride, false pride, and envy. False pride and envy goes away. So he said, I became completely humble, unenvious, and fully satisfied. And thus I was traveling. So he was constantly chanting the Lord's name. He said, thus fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna, I became completely freed from all material taints and ultimately met with my death. It came as lightning and illumination occurred simultaneously. जैसे lightning होती है ना एकदम से, ऐसे death आई and it took me. ठीक है? So this is, he passed away. But he said, then this verse comes. He said that I have personally experienced that people that are full of cares and anxieties. Who's full of care and anxieties? Everybody, right? So many things to bother us. Our own body, our mind keeps bothering. Why did somebody say something to me? इसने मुझे ऐसा क्यों बोल दिया, ऐसा क्यों बोल दिया, इसने ऐसा नहीं किया, वैसा नहीं किया. Or at workplace, or my boss is not pleased with me, or this particular colleague is harassing me, or online something is going on, or my family is giving me trouble, or I'm not earning enough money, or somebody's sick, or I have lost a loved one, or so many things going on, right? I have some debts or something or the other going on. So many cares and anxieties, right? So he said people that are always full of cares and anxieties can cross the ocean of nations. What is the ocean of nations? What does it mean? Bhav Sagar. Nations means ignorance. Okay, so Bhav Sagar is the ocean of nations. They can cross on this most suitable boat by constantly chanting the activities of the Lord. So, just by chanting the activities of the Lord, they can cross this ocean. So he said basically, I'll not go into this. We talked about this in Bhagavad Gita class yesterday that uh, Narad Muni said that senses should be controlled and they're like a venomous serpent, and we should break the fangs of this serpent, of these senses. How can you break the fangs? By constantly chanting the names of the Lord. Don't just try to control the snake. Don't try to restrain the senses. Just break the fangs of the snake. So anyway, so he said, ultimately he concluded that I immersed myself in devotional service. I After my death, after I met death, I entered into the body of the Lord, and after the night of Brahmaji, which is 4300, not 430, 4300 billion solar, sorry, 4.3 billion solar years. When Brahmaji awoke, I awoke with them, and I was in this body as granted by the mercy of the Lord. I appeared along with them, and now I was given privilege to travel everywhere without restrictions, because I'm fixed in unbroken devotional service of the Lord. And thus I travel constantly singing the message of the glories of the Lord, vibrating this instrument called Veena, which is charged with a divine sound and which was given to me by Lord Krishna himself. So Narad Muni says, Ki Krishna himself gave me this veena that I now play, and I chant the names, forms, glories, pastimes of the Lord on this veena. So in this way, he was completely immersed in the mercy, in the devotional service of the Lord. He said to Vyasadeva, ultimately, this is how I perfected my life, by constantly chanting and by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. So um, he said, this is my example, Narad Muni said. This is what everybody needs, right? Narad Muni is an example of a perfect devotee. He got darshan of the Lord, he got benedictions from the Lord, he got transcendental abode of the Lord. He's constantly serving the Lord. So he said the only way to transcend this material nature is to do everything for Krishna, engage in devotional service. This is what you have not written about. So he said you need to write about this. You need to write about the benefits of constantly chanting the glories, name, form, pastimes, activities of the Lord and his devotees, and that is the only thing that matters. So he basically proved to Vyasadeva that um, everything else will go away. This is the only thing that will stay. Okay, this is the only thing that matters. This is the only thing that by which people can perfect their life, and you have not given them this valuable resource. So So ultimately, Vyasadeva basically, Narad Muni left, and Vyasadeva went to Badrika Ashram. He sat in a trance, and in the trance, he got a beautiful vision. He saw the Supreme Lord. He saw the Maya Devi, the external energy, the inferior energy of the Lord, standing behind the Lord. Okay, and he saw various jivas that are suffering. He saw the desires and the activities of the jiva in his samadhi. And then he saw Srimad Bhagavatam. He saw that Srimad Bhagavatam is a solution to those miseries um, and unwanted desires of the jivas. So he decided, when he woke up from his trance, he understood what Narad Muni wants him to do. He wants him to glorify the Supreme Lord completely. So in this way, he composed the Srimad Bhagavatam. So do we have 5 more minutes? When did I start? Okay, I'll just tell you quickly. Okay, let me go quickly. So benefits, of course, we talked about this. Desires for material enjoyment go away. Okay, nashta prayeshva bhadreshu, all the abhadra things. Not only material desires, but all bad qualities, anger, pride, greed, envy, lust, everything goes away from your heart. Whatever is abhadra in your heart will go away. Okay. Even that verse also says, both are together, very important verses. Hriday antasto hi abhadrani. Hriday ke andar jo bhi abhadra hai, that will go away from your heart. Okay. Then you will get eternal life, just like Narad Muni got. Eternal life means which is free from cycle of birth and death. We are eternal anyways, but it is our choice whether we stay here in this material world, keep getting different bodies, different types of bodies, different species, plants, animals, demon, demigod, different types of humans, low birth, high birth within humans. We can keep doing all this. All this circulation rotating through the material world for time immemorial, or we can get free from this material world and get to the spiritual world like Narad Muni did. So eternal life. So this verse says basically that for all the other people, they're going towards their death. But only the devotees, only people that are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, that are hearing, chanting the glories of the Lord are going towards their eternal life. So with each, we celebrate our birthdays very proudly, right? As if it's a very big achievement or something. But ultimately, with every birthday, we are going towards our death, right? We are going towards Mrityu. Krishna will come in the form of Mrityu, in the form of Kal. He says in Bhagavad Gita, right? I'll come in the form of Kal Shakti. But for devotees, what happens? They're not going towards their Mrityu. They're going towards their eternal life. They're going towards the spiritual sky. So, except one who utilizes the time discussing the topics of the all good personality of Godhead, their duration of life is not decreasing. Actually, they're getting eternal life. So, duration of life is actually increasing, and you cannot even count how much it is. It is eternal. So that's another benefit. Of course, liberation from this sansar chakra. You can see it says samsara chakre asmin brahmate jnanata puman yavat karna gatanasti sukta sastra kathakshana. So if you have not heard Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Katha from the lips of Shukdev Goswami, that person will never be free. He will remain covered by the dense darkness of ignorance, revolved in the cycle of birth and death. So liberation, and of course back to Godhead. Antakale tu ye neva shruyate shuka shastra vak. Shruta shastra vak means whoever will hear what is spoken by Shukadev Goswami. Pretya taseva vekuntha govindo pi prayachati. So he will get not only Vekuntha but actually reach Govinda. Okay, and this is most beautiful. This is what appeals to me more than eternal life, liberation, everything else. When you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it is called a festival of mind. Tadev ramyam ruchiram navam navam. You will feel new feelings and emotions. Ramyam ruchiram. Tadev shashwan manaso mahotsavam. Man mein mahotsav hoga, festival of mind. तदेव शोकार्णव शोषणम ऋणम सब शोक सब खत्म हो जाएंगे. So the day that you are having a very bad day, okay, please try reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Sometimes I'm at work and I'm thinking, oh, aaj Bhagavatam class hogi, and I'm thinking, why am I thinking that? Because I realize that I'm not having good time. I'm having bad, people are harassing or some bad interactions and something is going on. And the only hope, only solace is comfort is that there is Bhagavatam to be heard at the end of the day. So, yad uttama shloka yasho anugiyate, like that. And of course, devotional service will arise in the heart of all those simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature. The feeling for loving devotional service to Krishna sprouts up at once. Okay. to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. If you are having a bad day, you're feeling fearful of something, something is harassing you, you're fearful, bhaya hai kisi cheez ka, something bad is going to happen, then extinguish those fires by reading this. Oral reception means hearing this Vedic literature. How to hear? Just with tasmat ekena mansa, with rapt attention. Prabhupada says with one pointed or with rapt attention. Here, Srimad Bhagavatam. This is full of names, forms of the Lord. We already talked about this. It's full of prayers of the Mahabhagavata devotees. It shows you how to surrender or take shelter of the Lord. You can see all these great personalities. These are called Mahabhagavats. These are called the great Mahabhagavat devotees of the Lord. And their qualities, their conversations, their mood is all depicted in Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam himself glorifies. It says Srimad Bhagavatam is basically, it's the best Puran. Nimna ganam yatha ganga, devanam achyuto yatha, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu Purananam idam tatha. Just like in the rivers, Ganga is the best. Just like in the gods, Vishnu is the best. Devanam Achyuto yatha. Just like amongst Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Shambhu is the topmost Vaishnava. Purananam idam tatha. Amongst Puranas, this is the topmost. So we already mentioned this is the spotless Purana. This is the essence. This is the conclusion of all Vedanta philosophy. So it is the Sarva Vedanta Saramhi. This is the Saram or conclusion of all Vedanta. So we don't have so much time to go into all these, Vedas and everything. So just read Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's all one needs. This last thing is very beautiful. Here, Krishna is saying to Narad Muni, he says, आश्चर्यम् एतद्धि मनुष्यलोके शुद्धं परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायण गोचराणि त्यक्त्वा अन्यवाचा कुहका पठन्ति. He said, आश्चर्यम् एतद्धि. Oh Narada, I'm very surprised. This is very आश्चर्यजनक बात. मनुष्यलोके, in this मनुष्यलोक, सुधम परित्यज्य. Sudha is nectar. सुधा परित्यज्य, नेक्टर को छोड़ के विषम पिबंती, विष पीते हैं. पीपल आर ड्रिंकिंग पॉइजन. सुधा को छोड़ के विष पीते हैं. सुधम परित्यज्य विषम पिबंती. आश्चर्यम एतद दी मनुष्य लोक. ये मनुष्य लोक में क्या हो रहा है? पीपल आर गिविंग अप सुधा और नेक्टर एंड ड्रिंकिंग विष. नामानि नारायण गोचरानि. आई हैव सो मेनी नेम्स ऑफ नारायण आर देयर. त्यक्त्वा अन्य वाचा कुहका पठन्ति. And listening to those names and glories of the Lord, they कुहका, like a कौवे की तरह ये सब दूसरी चीजें बोलते हैं. Why don't they say the names and glories of Narayan when I have given so much of that? त्यक्त्वा अन्य वाचा कुहका पठन्ति. Like a crow, they are just reading all this other things. So in this way, even Krishna is very surprised that we have such a rare human form of life, and we waste it in all these superficial, sense gratificatory, material things. We fall into the trap of the lies told by the material world, that we have to have so much dollars in our account by 40 years or by 50 years, and we have to have so much savings, or otherwise you're unsuccessful, or our kids have to be in the Ivy League universities, and that is somehow the perfection of life. Somehow that is the glories of life. We need to have, so many children and so many grandchildren and so many shoes and so many sarees in our closet and so much jewelry, and we have to have so many acres of house or land, and that is the perfection of life. So even Krishna is surprised that durlabho manusho deho. This manush deham is so durlabh. Dehi naam kshan bhangura. It can go away anytime. Tatrapi durlabham manne vaikuntha priyadarshanam. And in that rare form of human life, if you can get the darshan of Vaikuntha Priya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is even rare. And you all have the darshan of Supreme Lord himself directly in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's not waste this opportunity, this rare form of human life, and take to the reading, hearing, chanting of Srimad Bhagavatam with all sincerity and seriousness. And you will enjoy. You will find a new nectar, new intoxicant to get addicted to. Any of the drugs, alcohol, anything of this world will not have any further influence. So thank you for listening, for honoring this Harikatha so patiently. I'm grateful to each and every one of you. Vancha kaltarubhescha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Any questions before we stop? We have again Bhagavatam itself says that on the day of Bhadra Purnima, not it doesn't have to be exactly on the day of Bhadra Purnima, but on this occasion, if somebody invites Srimad Bhagavatam in their house, which Nilvani Mataji did, then your bus to Golok, your seat is reserved on that bus to Golok. You have the ticket to Golok Vrindavan, to the spiritual sky. So you have bought yourself the ticket to Golok Dham. You bought also? Okay. जब आपने ली थी yeah, nice. So yeah, please consider inviting Srimad Bhagavatam. If you already have, you can also donate for Srimad Bhagavatam, and we will give it to somebody who cannot pay for it. And we distribute books. As you can see, we have many books here. But Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost. So please consider inviting this wonderful book. You don't need to follow any kind of rules or regulations or anything in your homes to have Srimad Bhagavatam. Everything will get purified by itself. Any questions? Realizations? Yes.
Why did Narada hear about this story?
Yes, so Vyasadeva was very curious, as one should be. When you're talking, like if you remember in Prabhupada's pastime, all the disciples used to sit around Prabhupada and they used to ask him. So then, Prabhupada, what happened? How did you come to America, or what made you decide to come to America, right? And remember that Prabhupada came with just Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada will not come until he had written the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And somebody asked him, so Prabhupada would tell, why I came to America. I came because, not that I came, actually Srimad Bhagavatam wanted to come, and I'm just bringing Srimad Bhagavatam to America. So in this way, you're always curious about the journey of great souls. And actually, Narad Muni is also through his story sharing how by service of the great souls, like he served those 4 Bhakti Vedantas, how one can get mercy, one gets knowledge, renunciation, and he got devotional service. Seed for hearing, he got the taste for hearing Hari Katha at that time. And now he is glorifying Hari Katha, he's doing Hari Kirtan everywhere himself. And then when he had this great reversal come in his life, when he was left akinchan, he had nobody to take care of him. How, following those instructions, he was able to carry himself. He was able to follow the path of devotional service. Got the darshan of Lord. But Lord told him that you're not complete yet, though you're not perfect yet. So you need to keep doing this, keep doing your chanting and your devotional service. And I promise that you will come back to me and you will not forget this encounter. Right? This encounter was very valuable to him. You will not forget this. So in this way, he wanted to show that all these lessons that one can learn, right? Serving the devotees, developing taste for Harikatha, developing taste for chanting the holy names, and then practicing, learning during reversals, practicing devotional service even during adversities. All these lessons.
Narad Muni had such a bad thing happen, and yesterday Bhagavatam we were having similar circumstances.
Take a mic. Negative circumstance. Yeah.
So when sometimes we have reversals in our life or negative circumstances, we have the option to actually get closer to Krishna. So that's what Narada Muni did. He took that as an opportunity to pray to Krishna more. But now I have nobody else, only you are my only savior. Whereas other times, sometimes people they start actually going away from the Lord.
They actually blame.
Or blame. Right?
I was your devotee. Why did you do this?
Why did you do this? Or so they go away from God. Like, I am going to be angry. I am going to be. You did not give me this, so I will not. I will stop believing in you. Or whatever. So that is not helpful. We need to utilize those bad circumstances which actually come. They have to come, like we said, that they will be in this life. We all have seen or will see that nothing will always be as to our wishes and as we want, and there will be reversals. But in those times, we should take the opportunity to get actually closer to God, like Narada Muni did. His mother died. He was a child. His mother died with a snake bite, and she was a maid servant who was serving all these devotees. So he could have been really angry that God, why did you take my only sustenance? And I'm not going to believe in God anymore. I'm going to, go away from God. But he actually chose to go towards God and attain the perfection of it.
It's like we were discussing the other day, right? You're on the road, you're going with your father, and there is always traffic coming. So that's not the time to give up the hand of your father. That's the time we should hold the hand very strongly, and actually we should ask him to take us in his lap. Ki god mein utha lo, right? That's not the time you give up. You actually hold on stronger to the father. So he's your supreme father. Whatever is happening in your life is happening by his arrangement. He has some plan for you. He has some agenda for you. There is some purification, some growth, some lesson to be learned here.
Everything that happens is not good, but good can come out of every situation.
Yeah. So there is, opportunity for growth, for learning. Any questions about Bhagavatam itself? Who all have Srimad Bhagavatam here? Very bold. So all the others are going to get one?
We have one today, actually.
Oh, yes, we have one today. If somebody wants, please let us know. Again, like I said, very, very auspicious to even have the Srimad Bhagavatam in your home. And there will come a time when you will start reading it, and then there will come a time when you will start relishing it, and then there will come a time when you will not be able to go without it even a day. So we can slowly build up to that. So we cannot just sit and say, okay, this is the story, so what should I do? But you have to keep doing what you do. So how do we very nice question. So Mataji, I'm just for the purpose of recording, just sharing your question. So happiness and distress comes of its own accord. But we cannot sit idly by. We have to do something. Mataji cited 2.47 Karmanyavadhikaraste Mafaleshu Kadachan. So we have only entitled to our action, but not to the outcome, right? We're not the cause of that result either. We are just entitled to the action itself, and we should never think that the result was caused by me. So, but we cannot sit idly by. So, what is my duty? How do I know what is my duty at a particular time? So, Mataji, it's a big topic, just trying to condense it in a few lines, okay? So at any point of time, you will have your ultimate duty and your immediate duty, okay? Ultimate goal or ultimate purpose and immediate purpose. Ultimate purpose of human life is to go back to Godhead. Immediate purpose is, for example, taking care of my profession, my children, my home, my spouse, whatever social duties, responsibilities, family, these things, right? Cooking, cleaning, whatever responsibilities I have. So that is an immediate purpose. What devotees do, what Krishna wants us to do, is to align our immediate purpose with ultimate purpose, okay? Which means whatever your immediate purpose, your duty is. You are in whatever ashram you are a grahastha, you are a retired person, or you are whatever profession you are in, whatever engagement you have at that time, you give your karmanyavadhikaraste means you give your best focus, your best effort, your best attention to that particular task at hand without any distraction or deviation, okay? Don't worry about the result. You may try very hard, but the result may still be something different. Then Choharich. Okay, whatever Lord desired will happen. We are not the cause of the result. There are so many things that decide the result. But my immediate duty is to just take care of whatever I have been assigned as part of my current bodily situation, current family or professional or social situation, right?
whatever and what situation that is. Like for example, for my kids, I don't know which job they should take, or which whether they should get married or not, or who they should get married. Those kind of big decisions in life, so we can handle our immediate purpose properly, those big decisions should be taken with guidance of people that are spiritually grounded and that are our well wishers. Okay, so people that know that, like let's say a child's talents, child's innate skills, and their tendencies, their potencies, right? So they can guide that child in a spiritual way, combining it with the ultimate purpose, that based on this child's inclinations and potencies, I think this child should become, let's say, a teacher, or they will be in a more, um, let's say, different type of skill, let's say a lawyer or whatever, a cop. They can serve the society better in this way. Okay, so but ultimately we have to combine both the purposes together. Whatever we do, we have to do it in service of Krishna. But whatever your immediate purpose is, align it in service of Krishna, so that your ultimate purpose is also fulfilled. Ultimate purpose is to go back to Godhead. Immediately we have many actions, many small things that will take us there. Okay, so design your lifestyle, design your life, your job, your routine in such a way that ultimate purpose stays in the center, and the immediate purposes will fulfill that ultimate purpose. So we have to, so it's a big topic, because it's about how we should structure our life in such a way that all our activities align with the ultimate purpose, the ultimate goal of reaching back to Godhead. So does that make some sense? Is that what you were asking? Yeah. So that comes to huh? Okay. Okay, I got it. Huh? No. So when you engage dharma, artha, kama, moksha in service of the Lord, everything becomes prema. Everything has to be engaged in service of the Lord to make it prema, right? So for devotees, material life and spiritual life are not divorced. They are not separated. Sometimes we have this very hard lines, this dichotomy. We divorce material life and spiritual life. It's not like that. Anything that I'm doing, if I'm taking care of my body, if I'm exercising, that is also so that I can do services for the Lord properly. If I'm getting full night's sleep, right? If I'm enjoying some kind of recreation, some kind of sense gratification, that is also so that I can get some mental break, right? Some kind of rejuvenation to my senses, so that I can then engage harder in my services related to the Lord. So for devotees, material and spiritual life are not divorced. Material life is serving the spiritual life. Material life is fulfilling the purpose of spiritual life. So spiritual life is in the center, material life is being used to get to the ultimate purpose. Does that make sense? Okay. So don't make these hard. This is my, ऐसा नहीं है कि when I go to my job, when I go, when I am going, talking to my friends that are not devotees, this is my material life. No. When I'm talking to my friends, I'm still going to maintain my devotional conduct and my etiquette, so that I can portray myself as a Krishna's representative. I can, so that I will maintain my connection with them, so that one day maybe these people, when they are in trouble, they will reach out to me and I will introduce Krishna in their life. So I'm maintaining my contacts with them, right? When I'm going to the job, I'm still maintaining my highest conduct, the qualities, the virtues, the values that Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, so that people can see what a Krishna's devotee looks like, that they're the best at work, they're most efficient, they're most virtuous, very valuable, they're priceless. I cannot do without them. Look at this. This is a devotee of the Lord. They're priceless. They're empowered by Krishna. So it's not that when I go, this is my material life, so I'm going to behave very disgustingly or very rudely or crudely, right? No, I'm still going to carry those devotional values with me, and this is also work of Krishna only. So engaging with non-devotees or professional people, it's not like suddenly I have become somebody else. I'm still a devotee of Krishna, and I'm doing this service for Krishna. So don't separate them too much. Everything is serving the ultimate purpose. Yes. Siddharth, right? What's your name? Siddharth? Oh, I don't know how I got it. I was going to ask you, how did you get I don't know. Yes, please. Narada's nothing about Narada's dad is mentioned, so we are assuming. I can just speculate that he might have passed away, and he was just Narada's mother was alone, probably a widow, somebody who has lost their husband. So he was. It seems like from the story that she was raising him alone, so her husband must have passed away. Does that make sense? Yeah, very good. Good job. Good observation. Any other questions? Mataji, this was a very nice discussion question. Actually, we have to at some point, I know Komal Mataji has asked me how to balance time and things. So this question goes with that. We will have some discussion.
I have seen and I all the devotees. Like I know, and they know they do a lot of work, and they still have a lot of time. It's always amazed me like how they can do so many things, and when they're like doing job and a house and everything, and how they have that much time. It looks like they always have a time. You are asking something, do you have a time? They'll say, oh yeah, I do. So for us, like normal people, we are like, yeah, we have to see if we have time or not without doing nothing.
Mataji, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, time I am. Kalo asmi. So if you have added Krishna in your life, then time expands. It's Krishna's energy, right? Time is Krishna's energy. Krishna can expand or limit it at his will. If you're wasting it, then you don't have much. If you're using it in his service, then it expands. Okay, we'll stop. I think we'll move on to the next plan for the day. We can take any questions after.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Thank you
Bol.
so much for the wonderful answers.